WNBA. Pretty good weekend, man. And we're gonna go back to Friday, June 28th, because we had a double header. Dreams in the Sun down up in Connecticut, and then the Sparks and the Merkin in the Valley in Phoenix. The Atlanta Dream went to Connecticut and stunned the Connecticut Sun 78 to 74. And Alicia Gray was the catalyst for this win. 17.6% from the field. Tina Charles also put in 14 points for the Dream. Haley Jones gave you 8 points. I can't be mad at that. If Kuma McCain's watching, he was a Dream fan. I got 8 points from Haley Jones. 3 for 5 from the field, giving me 6 boards. I can't be mad at that. DeWanna Bomber, 17 points. Can't be mad at Alicia Thomas with 14, 7, and 8. Love that. Carrington, 15 points. But, man, that's back-to-back losses for the Connecticut Sun. This is back-to-back losses for Connecticut Sun. The Connecticut Suns are on a losing streak right now. They need to do something about that. They're supposed to be one of the top defensive teams in the game. Not no more because somebody has took that reins. But good win for the Atlanta Dream, getting them to 7-9, still within position to fight for the AC in the WNBA standings. We almost halfway there. It's 40 games. We almost halfway there. We're at 18 games. The Mercury hosted the Sparks. Brittany Griner versus the Week of Hanby. And I mean, outside of the Rika Hanby, to be quite honest with you, the Sparks are a young team. Kira Nurse is good. I think she's in her like third or fourth year. You have Ryan Howard, who you drafted with your second first round pick after you drafted Cameron Brent, who suffered a torn ACL. Unfortunately, we still hope for a full recovery for Cameron Brent. Not only her rookie season ended short, but her dream of playing or representing Team USA in Paris came to an end as well. But it's a young team. Kurt Miller has his hands full with a young team. It's gonna take time. It might not be this year, as they are 4-14. But hey, it is what it is. The Rika Hanby, 29.7 boards. She doing what she can. McDonough gave you 12. Wikita gave you 14. Not bad. 6 for 10 from the field. I like that she's shooting better. Kia Nurse struggled. 3 for 8 from the field, but did get 9 points. And then Kalia Copper, 24 points. Diana Taurasi, 20 points. Brittany Griner, 18 and 11. Natasha Cloud, 14 and 7 dimes. I mean, that's a better team. That's all there is to it. But that was Friday. Let's go to Saturday. Saturday, we had a doubleheader as well. The reigning, defending, back-to-back champion of Azle in the capital take on the Washington Mystics, and we had the Storm host the Wings, and we already knew what was going to happen. When you see the Las Vegas Aces playing the Washington Mystics, you know what was going to happen. You had no doubt that the Aces was not going to handle business, which they did. They moved to 10-6. They starting to get on the winning streak. They starting to get their run, man. They held the Mystics to 8 points in the fourth quarter. Do you see that? Do you look at the fourth quarter? 21-8. That is stifling lockdown defense in the fourth quarter, okay? 8 points in the fourth quarter? Wow. In your own building, by the way. You're the home team. You can only score 8 points in the fourth quarter. That means the Champs was on something. The Champs came into the second half because if you look at it, Mystics jumped out early. They had an 8-point lead after the first quarter. They took a 6-point lead at halftime. And then the Aces turned it around, made it a 1-point game going to the fourth quarter, and they just locked them down. Just locked them down in the fourth quarter. Man, that's defense play. All right. AJ Wilson, only 11 points, 11 boards, and 5 assists. Not her best game, part of her worst game of the season, and they won by 11, which is saying something. This is AJ Wilson's worst game of the season, and they won by 11. Chelsea Gray back in the starting lineup. She was coming out the bench for the first 3-4 games when she came back from her ankle injury. She's back in the starting lineup, 22 points for the point guard in the WNBA. Just letting you know. And then Jackie Young continued to put the ball in the bucket better than anybody, better than any guard right now. 26 points. Oh my goodness. Look, 8 for 12, 3 for 6 from 3-point range. Jackie Young is starting to become a problem again. This is what happened last year. When she started becoming a problem last year, you looked at the Aces like, y'all not beating them. Doesn't like y'all not beating them. And then Chelsea Gray became and started doing stupid passes. And it's like, you got a point guard who can pass the ball ridiculously. You have two elite scorers at the guard position and Jackie Young and Kelsey Plum. And then you have AJ Williams, who is the best player in the WNBA. How do you beat them? Well, they didn't have Chelsea Gray for most of this time. Out of the 60 games, Chelsea Gray missed about 12 of them, and they kind of struggled. Chelsea Gray is back. They're 10-6. Still in prime position to make some things happen when it comes to top seeds in the WNBA. So everybody in the WNBA, look out. The back-to-back champions are coming. All right. Now, before I move on, shout out to Dawso with 23 points, trying to do what she can. Eric Atkins with 13. Haynes Allen with 14, but it's just not enough, and you just going to get the champ. That's all it is to it. But they'll bounce back, you know. They starting to find their way. And then we get to the Wings and the Storm. Last time these two played, that was the epic the highest scoring game last year when Enrique Gomawale went for 41 and the Gold Mama Drew Lloyd went for 39 and a Storm win. The Storm won again in a more blowout fashion, and Enrique gave you 24 if you're a Wings fan. You got 15 from McClown and you got 14 from Natasha Howard. Nevertheless, when you look at the other side, the Seattle Storm had all 5 starters in double figures. Enike Agumake, 16 points with 6 boards. Matt DeBon, Easy Lattabon with 13 points. Skylar Diggins-Snell gave you 11 with 5 dimes. Holston, who's been inserted into the starter lineup recently, with the double-double of 12 points with 11 boards from the guard position, and the Gold Mamba herself, Jewel Lord, with 35 and 5. Good Lord, have mercy. You thought what she did in Indiana was something. She came back against the Wings and dropped another 30 piece. She gave Indiana 34. I believe that was Thursday, I believe. It was Thursday. I believe it was Thursday. Thursday or Wednesday when Caitlin Clark and Indiana people came up there. She gave them 34, and then and like I said, that was the quietest 15 points I ever heard from Caitlin Clark, to be honest. It didn't matter because Drew Love was on one. And then she comes back on Saturday and drops 30 on the Dallas Wings. Good, man. Look here. The Dallas Wings, it's been rough for y'all. It's been a rough go. I understand. You don't have Sabalo, and, it's going to be a rough second half for y'all to try to make a run, but we'll see how to go when she returns back and gets acquainted with the team again. But the Seattle Storm, 12-6, they are in prime position to make some noise in the playoffs. Just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. And then we get to Sunday. Sunday, we had a triple header. Started off at 1 p.m. on ESPN with the Dreams at the New York Liberty. And then we had the Minnesota Lynx against the Chicago Sky. And then the Indiana Fever in the desert to take on the Phoenix Mercury. First off, to begin the day on yesterday, New York Liberty handled business against the Atlanta Dream, 81-75. I was nervous because Atlanta Dream came out, punched us in the mouth in the first quarter. As you can see, 24-13. And we cut it down to 5 to go into halftime. I was a little nervous. I'm like, Atlanta's playing some ball right now. I'm not sure what we're going to do. We need to do something in the second half. And we turned up the defense in the second half, outscoring them 45-34, winning by 6 points. So I'm good. We had to make some changes. We did, I'm happy that we kept the 16-3 on the season. Best record in the league right now. Alicia Gray, 24 points with 5 boards. I mean, she was on one. She was with 16-12 with a double-double. But my girls, Stewie came up big for me. 22 points, 12 boards. I needed Stewie. I needed Stewie to show up. She did. I got 18 for Banaja Laney Hamilton. I needed those. Sabrina struggled. 3 for 17 from the field, 2 for 11 from three-point range. You gave me 10, but that's not Sabrina Nescu that I know. Sabrina Nescu does not go 3 for 17 from the field and shoot 2 for 11. That's not the Sabrina that I know. You had a bad game. I'm not going to harp on you too long. This is back-to-back games where John Crowell Jones is not being involved in the offense. You only had 5 shots in 30 minutes. I don't need John Crowell Jones to only have 5 shots as he's playing 30 minutes. I'm happy we got the dub. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm happy we got the dub, but if I'm being completely honest, I need John Quell to be more involved in the offense. When JJ's more involved in the offense, it's hard to beat the New York Liberty, okay? It's just hard. Now, John Quell, Maybe low off on the threes for a while. That's all. Maybe take away from the threes, get inside, dominate inside. Because who in the WNBA is gonna stop you? You already went up against Angel Reese one time, and you put Angel Reese on the platter. You went against Angel Wilson. Both of y'all had monster games. We came out on top. Okay. For some reason, the only team that's giving you problems is Minnesota. We 0-2 against Minnesota, and in both games you struggled. The first game we had against Minnesota, you was in foul trouble. The second game we had Minnesota, even though it don't count towards the standing, because if it did, we'll be 16-4 instead of 16-3. In the Commissioner's Cup game, they just couldn't find you in the offense for whatever reason. So, Coach Brondella, I love you, but we need to get JJ involved more. We got to get JJ involved more, okay? I'm happy we 16-3. I'm happy. But there are some things that I see that we can improve on. Getting JJ more involved. Great to have Courtney Vandersloot back in the lineup for us. But can we get JJ involved more? Because when we have JJ involved, when we have Sabrina Nescu on and Stewie on, we're dangerous. Not to mention Belaja Laney can put the ball in the bucket. We got Ken Thorne come off the bench, who's been lights out from that corner three. We can bring home the first ever championship in Liberty history here. We have an opportunity, but we can't do it. We don't have JJ involved in the offense. That's all I'm saying. All right. Now, that was the opening game. The other two games took place at the same time. The first one was the Minnesota Lynx and the Chicago Sky. This game was on the alternate ESPN channel, what they call ESPN3. Okay. So those of you who didn't see this game, that was probably why, because you had to have some type of streaming service to get that game, which I feel like there was a missed opportunity from the WNBA, because you had Angel Reese and Navisha Collier playing at the same time as Caitlin Clark and Diana Taurasi. If you would have put this on ESPN at 3 and maybe had Caitlin Clark and Diana Taurasi play at 5, maybe 6 on ESPN or maybe ABC, just imagine the viewership that you would have had over yesterday by itself. That's a thought that I just want to throw out. That's a thought. Nevertheless, the Chicago Sky, if I'm being completely honest, they control this game. They pretty much control this game. All right. This is a rarity for me, as I have been an on and off fan of the WNBA. Always been a fan of the Liberty. Okay, it's the only team I ever loved was the New York Liberty. I always been a fan of the Liberty. I always go back to the days of Teresa Witherspoon, who is the head coach of the Chicago Sky, Becky Hammond, who's the head coach of the Las Vegas Aces, along with probably the GOAT of the New York Liberty, Rebecca Lobo. But the Sky controlled this game. You jumped out with an 8-point lead, 24-16. And, the Lynx fought back, cut it to 5. But y'all didn't allow the Lynx to score 20 points in any quarter. The Lynx scored 16, 18, 18, and 18. And they was able to win the game because in the fourth quarter, like we talked about earlier with the Aces and the Mystics, the Lynx did to the Sky in the fourth quarter. In Wintrust Arena in Chicago, by the way, 18-5 in the fourth quarter. You got outscored by 13 points in the fourth quarter, and you lost by 8. You had a 5-point lead going into the fourth quarter, and the Lynx shut you down. The Commissioner's Cup winner turned on the defense in the fourth quarter, and the Chicago Sky couldn't do nothing about it. They have no answer for what the Lynx was doing to them defensively. Okay. Coach Cheryl Reese, who is the women's national coach, going to Paris. Just to let y'all know, if you don't know who the women's coach is, Cheryl Reese, who is the head coach of the 14-4 Minnesota Lynx, showed you why defense matters. In the fourth quarter, they only allowed the Chicago Sky to score 5 points. 5. And about 2 to 3 of them came from the free throw line, by the way. Just to throw that out there. All right. Now, let me give you the box scores, okay? The Fisher Collier probably had her worst scoring game. Worst scoring game, not worst game, okay? Not her worst game, her worst scoring game, because she only scored 13 points. But she gave you 11 boards with 6 dimes, all right? The scoring wasn't happening because she was only 5 for 13, but she found other ways to impact the game with rebounding and assisting, okay? Alicia Smith, 11 points with 7 boards. I love it. Aaliyah Smith. Kelly McBride with 16 points, 5 boards, and 5 downs. I love it. That's how you win games, okay? Angel Reese, 10 and 16. I'll get to Angel Reese even more in a bit. Lindsay Allen, 13 points. Thought was something because when Lindsay Allen scored the third, I thought Chicago was going to win this game. I thought Minnesota was going to drop their second straight game after they lost to the Atlanta Dream earlier in the week after beating my Liberty in the Commissioner's Cup game. McBride gave you 11. You got 15 from Carter, and it wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough for some reason, and that's a loss that's going to hurt the Chicago Sky. Maybe they can bounce back from it. They can bounce back. But that's a hurt. That's a loss that's gonna hurt because you control most of the game. You was in the lead after the first quarter. You was in the lead after the second quarter. You was in the lead after the third quarter, and then you got shut down 18-5 in the fourth quarter to lose the game. Now Angel Reese with that 10 and 16 game that she put on display, that is her 10th consecutive double-double, which is a single record in the WNBA, passing Candace Parker, who did it, I believe, back in 2008, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe in 2008, she was with the LA Sparks at the time. All right. So she passed Candace Parker for the most consecutive double-doubles. And she had a hard time getting to that 10 points because she was seeing double teams and triple teams. Coach Reese was making sure that Angel Reese did not impact this game in any form or fashion. Despite having 16 rebounds, it was hard as hell for Angel Reese to get the 10 points. And the only way she got the 10 points because she got fouled. She went to the free throw line when she was at 9, and she made 1 or 2 free throws, which gave her the double-double, if we're going to be completely honest, all right? This was how Coach Reese had her team playing. This was the game that Angel Reese was not supposed to get a double-double. So we might can give kudos to her on that because the way Minnesota Lynx was playing Angel Reese, this was the game that she was not supposed to get a double-double. Minnesota was doing everything in their power to make sure she don't get a double-double and she doesn't impact the game. Part of the reason why they was losing for most of the part of the game because Lindsay Allen was able to get off, Kenny Carter was able to put the ball in the bucket. Because you was making sure anytime Angel Reese touched the ball in the post, 2 or 3 people for the Lynx was on her ass. That's pretty much what it was. If you watch the game, you know what I'm talking about. She was seeing double and triple teams. I think this is the first time in her career that she has ever seen double or triple teams. Because I don't think she was double and triple team when she was at LSU. It was like impossible. If you had Floyd J. Johnson, who was a baller. Okay. Yeah, Haley Van Lake, you don't know what to do with her. She's on. It's like LSU had talent. You don't make sure you don't want to double to her. So I'm thinking. This is just me thinking here. It was the first time she's seen double and triple teams in her basketball career because Minnesota was throwing stuff at her and she was frustrated. Like, I'm pretty sure she's happy that she got the record, but if I know Angel Reese, she ain't too happy that that they took an L at home. Okay? I'm pretty sure she was not happy that they took the L at home. She's probably like, yeah, it's all good. I don't know. It's nice to get a record as a rookie and all that good stuff, but you took an L. And again, that you should have won, if I'm being completely honest, if I'm the Chicago Sky. That's a game you should have won. Now, I know Minnesota is the best defensive team in the WNBA. I know Minnesota is 14-4. But watching that game, tell me at what part outside of the fourth quarter that you thought the Minnesota Lynx had a chance to win the game. Because Chicago was dominating. They was leading that game. They was on Minnesota. It took the fourth quarter for the number 1 defense to show up and lock down the Chicago Sky. They held them to 5 points. You had them to 5 points. So you can't be mad at Minnesota for showing up in the fourth quarter because they got the dub. What's the name of the game? Win. They got the 14-4. Chicago's down to 6-11. Which, by the way, depending on what happened in this next game I'm going to talk about, which is the game of the weekend because it was Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever in the desert to take on Diana Taurasi and the Minnesota Lynx. And what you know, 88 Fever, 82 Mercury. How did this happen, Playmaker? What happened? This was Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner, Kalia Copper, Natasha Cloud. How did they lose to Indiana out of all teams? Well, as you can see, Mercury jumped out early. They jumped out early on them. It could have been a blowout, to be honest, because it got to 11 at halftime. You was like, Yeah, the way Phoenix is looking right now, they about to get Indiana gonna learn another lesson of its levels to this. But in the second half, Kelsey Mitchell decided to wake up, and Clayton Clark decided to play team ball, not Clayton ball, team ball. Okay, not saying she's selfish. I'm not saying she's selfish, so don't take that account. And what I'm saying is, she didn't want the spotlight on her. She wanted the spotlight on the team, and the team became a team again, and they started playing ball. And when they started playing ball, the second half had a whole different look and tone to the game. All of a sudden, you saw a 11-point halftime lead disappeared by the fourth quarter. Because at the end of the third quarter, it was the Fever with the lead after a 29-15 outburst in the third quarter. And then they held on to win the game. All right. Now, Caitlin Clark almost did something that hasn't been done as for a rookie ever in the WNBA. She was a rebound away from a triple double. That'll be the first time in WNBA history, rookie got you a triple double. She struggled from the field, only 4 for 14, 2 for 10 from the field, but she gets you 15, 12, and 9. It was a struggle for Caitlin Clark, but hey, she didn't panic. She continued to do her job. She kept finding ways to impact the game until Kelsey Mitchell decided to wake up in the second half. And all 16 of her points came in the second half, which helped spark the comeback for the Indiana Fever. Aaliyah Boston with 17 points and 8 boards. Nafisha Smith, 12 points and 15 boards with a double-double. And a stunning upset over the Phoenix Mercury. Diana Taurasi, 19 points. Brittany Griner with 24 and 6. Natasha Clark gave you 15. And then Kalia Copper. Out of all the games now, we all know this. Everybody's going to look forward to Diana Taurasi and Caitlin Clark. But Kalia Copper, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe most of the game she was guarding you, Kalia. What happened? 7 points, 3 for 15 from the field. You was able to take 15 shots. Like Kalia Copper, I have called you a bucket. Ever since I've been doing this, I have called you a bucket. Yesterday, you weren't a bucket. You was not a bucket yesterday. And you ended up fouling out. What happened to Kalia Copper yesterday? Now, if you want to say it's a bad game, I'm with you. We can call it a bad game because she didn't have too many of those. She didn't have too many of those this year. But this was a prime opportunity. The Footprint Center was sold out in Phoenix. The world has been waiting on this matchup ever since Diana Taurasi said what she said to Scott Van Pelt. The matchup has finally came, and they was not going to put Caitlin Clark on Diana Taurasi. They was not going to do that. They put her on one of the best scorers in the game instead of the GOAT. And one of the best scorers in the game can only give me 7 points. I'm trying to figure out who is the defensive presence on the guard spot for the Indiana Fever. You can probably say Wallace, because Wallace is mostly known for her defensive presence instead of than her offensive presence. You can say that. But she can't stick her and Diana Taurasi. She can only take one of y'all out. I'm pretty sure, and we did see it, Natasha Clyde was on Caitlin Clark. Most of the reason why she struggled because Natasha Clyde is a defensive wizard as well. She's one of the defensive wizards in the WNBA. She made it hard for Caitlin Clark. But Caitlin Clark did not panic. Caitlin Clark did not get frustrated. Okay? And when I say frustrated, I mean she didn't get to the point where the rest of her game went downhill. Like Angel Reese did yesterday. Angel Reese got the double-double. Love it. I'm an Angel Reese fan. I love it. But I saw the frustration on Angel Reese's face. And it was frustrating. It's like, we can't get nothing going. I can't get nothing going. We can't get nothing going. And this team is about to beat us. And there's nothing we can do about it. That was the frustration that I saw for Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark, I didn't see that level of frustration from Caitlin Clark. She understood. This is not my game. But we are still in the battle. We still have a chance to win this game. Kelsey Mitchell has come alive. And we have an opportunity to win a game that we should not be winning. And by the way, this is the first win for the Indiana people against a team at the time that was over 500. Because Phoenix came into the game 9-8. Now they 9-9 because they took the L to the Indiana Fever. Which, by the way, with the Chicago loss to the Lynx and the Fever upset win, the Indiana Fever is back in the A spots in the current standings. And if y'all, and those of you who are new to the WNBA, the top 8 teams goes into the playoffs. There's no East and West type of playoff system like in the NBA. Top 8 teams in the playoffs, and that's how and whoever 1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. That's how it goes in the WNBA. Now, when they get more teams into the WNBA, maybe they actually do an actual separate conferences and have East side versus West side and all that good stuff. But for right now, 1 through 8 makes the playoffs. And currently, as we sit here, through basically 18 games, even though Indiana has played 20, they're already halfway through their schedule. The Indiana Fever currently hold an 8 spot over the Chicago Lynx, who are 6-11 right now. So shout out to the Indiana Fever getting a big time win. Gotta give them credit. Gotta give Caitlin Clark credit. Okay, she's like one of the quickest rookies to, like, I believe what it was, 300 points, 100 rebounds, and 100 assists. Shout out to Caitlin Clark. Shout out to the Indiana Fever. Shout out to Coach Christy Size. They are figuring it. They figuring it out. They are starting to figure it out. So now they know how to play against tough teams. So they got a big win over Phoenix. Can they keep it going? Can they put themselves in a prime position to go into the Olympic break? That way, Caitlin Clark can get away from basketball for a while, because she's been playing basketball since November, basically. Let her take a break and get something going. Same thing with the Chicago Sky. Can they put themselves in a good position before the Olympic break, along with Angel Reese and Camila Cardozo, to where when they take a break and get away from basketball for a while, they can feel good about where they at in the standings and have that final push towards the 8th seed. Because, ladies and gentlemen, remember, there's one more meeting between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky, and it's August 30th. Okay? The end of next month is the last and final meeting of their professional rookie season, should I say, between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And that could have a lot on the line. Not just Rookie of the Year, but a playoff spot could be on the line as well. Just want to let y'all know. All right?